Hey Utah fans, it is game time in just about a day and a half, a little over that, but dang close. So here we are, we're going to talk about Oregon State and the kind of challenge that they pose to us. So we will talk all about their offense and defense right after this.
For a first down. Nice. That's the shot I'm talking about. There it is. Over the middle. It's caught. Touchdown. Devon Valet. That's beautiful, man. I get Carlson a touch on the block. Carlson from deep, and we're tied.
A win. This is a victory lap of sorts for the Super Senior.
Ginormous double out.
All right. It is the first game of the middle third of the season, and we are on a stretch that is going to be probably our toughest stretch during the regular season, since we are facing 4 teams in October whose combined record is 14-2. They've each played 4 games, and USC is undefeated, UCLA is undefeated. I'm trying to think who Washington State. Washington State is 3-1. Play them at the end of October, the 27th, I believe. And then also we play Oregon State, who's 3-1, Saturday at noon. That's Mountain Daylight Time, so make sure you're there for it. Whit talked about having all the fans get there early, watch some warm-ups, get the guys going. He said if you're there watching warm-ups, which I like to do, I'll be there around 10:30 to 10:45. Get a little food, just settle back in my seat, watch them warm up, watch Oregon State warm up too a little bit, just to kind of see what they've got going on. But Whit says he loves it, and the guys love it. He says if you're there in your seat or there whatever, just kind of watch them practice. If the players see, a bunch of people in the stands already early, he said it fires them up. So let's get them fired up. Let's get them going. Be there early. That'd be a great thing. I get it sometimes, if you're maybe a younger family or something and you've got a kid playing some junior jazz basketball in the morning or some soccer or some baseball or whatever they're into, or, maybe somebody's, in a dance, got a dance practice, or maybe you want to do a quick 9 holes of golf or something early in the morning. But whatever you can do, let's try to get there on time. And don't forget to like and subscribe as well. You can do that now. You don't need to wait till Saturday morning to do that. So let's take a look at the foes we will be facing. Did I mention like and subscribe? Yes, I did. Please. I am, I can't remember. I'm at 188 or 189. And I'm 11 or 12 away from 200. So if you're not subscribed and you're watching this, go ahead and do me a solid and hit that subscribe button. Yeah, there you go. Right down there. Now, so since I'm getting a little older, I can see fine far, but I need some help up close. So Chance Nolan, this is his 3rd year as a starting quarterback, and he had a little rough time against SC. The defense for Oregon State did a fine job. They held SC to about 370-ish yards, maybe even in the 350s, somewhere right in there. But Chance Nolan threw 4 interceptions, and USC only pressured him 4 times. So it wasn't like he was under a lot of duress. I don't know. I didn't watch the game, so I don't know, why he chose to make the throws he made, but 4 interceptions. Hopefully he throws 4 against us. And I don't care whether he's under duress or not against us. But I'm hoping that we're going to put him under a lot of duress. I'm hoping we're going to, really put some pressure on him. Hopefully we get to him a few times. We had 5 sacks in last week's game. That was fantastic, against Arizona State. Hopefully we get a few more sacks this week. Bunch of TFLs against their run game. And, if they're like doing a screen pass or something, let's stop it early and often. So here's what we've got. So Chance Nolan, he's got 913 yards passing for the season. His completion percentage is just slightly over 60%. Might be 61, maybe 61 and change. Oh, look at that, 61 and a half. There we go. He's averaging 8.8 yards a throw, or per completion. Nope, per throw. And his long is 74. He's got 7 TDs, but 6 interceptions. So his TD to interception ratio is not that good. At least it's above 1. And he's been sacked twice. Hopefully we sack him twice in this game alone. Now, with their offensive line, you may remember they got 260 rushing yards against us last year. If you watched that game, you were probably, kind of bummed like I was, and my whole family. But they ran over us pretty good. 260 yards is not something that the Utah defense usually allows, and they did that. Now, the running back that was mainly responsible for that is no longer with the team. I don't know if he's in the NFL or not. I think I remember that I heard that he is on a team, but I'm not sure. But he graduated or, used up his eligibility or whatever. So he's gone. And they are 2 of the offensive linemen also finished their eligibility as well. So they've got 3 returners and a couple of new ones. I don't know how much experience the new ones have, but the line is doing a fairly good job of protecting Chance. Again, he's only got 2 sacks, and they're also doing a good job of creating holes for the running game. Although the running game averages 180.5 yards a game. Passing, they are averaging 180.75 yards a game. And the passing game is, or throw game as Witt likes to call it, but since this isn't Witt's team, we'll call it the passing game. And they're averaging 250.5. So overall, they're averaging 431.25 yards per game on offense, which is very solid, very solid. Now, let's see. Deshaun Fenwick is their main back, who's got the most number of yards. He's got 233 on the season. They have 2 other backs with over 100 yards, Jam Griffin and Damian Martinez. So pay attention to those guys. Hopefully Utah shuts them down. I honestly don't believe that we're going to have nearly the success against Oregon State the way we did against Arizona State. Arizona State's a dumpster fire right now. Oregon State's going to really be our first real test since the Florida game. And when you look at the 2 teams, they're both tough. They're both physical. They both like to run the ball. I don't know if Smith intentionally, I think that's his name, Jonathan Smith, the head coach of Oregon State. I don't know if he intentionally copied Witt or just likes that style of play or what, but they are quite similar. I think their personnel is also relatively similar. I think ours higher quality overall from top to bottom, but the last time we played them, at Rice Eccles, we only beat them by 6, 30-24. So, and then of course we lost last year. What was it, 42-34, if I remember correctly. I'm trying to put that out of my mind. But so we've got a game where we're facing kind of a clone of ourselves. They have 2 DBs that are very good. Who does that sound like? That sounds like Clark Phillips III and Jatavius Broughton, because our 2 DBs are, at least our cornerbacks are very good. Nickelback, I don't know what they've gotten or who they've got or how good he is for their nickelback, but you know, their corners are supposed to be pretty good, so it'll be interesting to see. Here's what I'm looking for. I'd like to see our receivers bounce back, especially Solo. I'd really love to see him make a few good catches, maybe get some yards after catch. He could use it after that kind of a rough game that he had last week. And again, we're going against some pretty good cornerbacks, so I'd really also like to see our receivers step up their game and have a good game against good competition. Build up Cam's confidence in him, and especially with Grant Keithy out for the season. It doesn't get any easier the next 2 weeks. We've got UCLA after this game down at the Rose Bowl. And then the week after that, the 15th, we're at home against SC. I hope SC is undefeated still, and I hope we haven't lost a game, other than the Florida game, until, and I say until, that's wrong. I hope we haven't lost a game between now and then and when we play USC, because if we are 5-1 and SC is 6-0, then there's a decent chance. There are a couple of other good games that Saturday, but there's a decent chance that maybe College Game Day comes to Utah. And what I'd really like to see is I'd love to see us, beat Oregon State a lot better than USC did. Of course, we are at home and they were away, so there's that little factor. Then I'd also like to see us go down and take care of UCLA anyway, whether it's close or a big whooping. But of course, I'd prefer a comfortable win at the very least. And then it's game on against USC. And if we can win that game, and I think we can, if we can win that game, we're going to be, at that time, 6-1, and still have a few challenging games left for sure, leading up to the Oregon game in Eugene. So, yeah, I think it could be very interesting if that's kind of how things play out. And let's not look past Washington State. I don't mean to disrespect them by saying, I think we have, some easier. We do have an easier game in there because we play Stanford, and Stanford is just not very good. But Washington State is the 4th game of October, and that's not going to be a cakewalk. And that's up at Washington State. Thankfully, we have a bye the week before. So we've got 10, 11 days, 12 days to prepare for them. 11 days, 12th day is a game day. So that's where we're at. Hopefully we can be healthy. Here's it sucks that Keithy is gone for the season. It sucks for him, sucks for the team and the fans. But the kind of interesting thing that we get out of it, if we're going to look at a silver lining, if there is a silver lining in this, it's maybe teams don't know quite how to prepare without Keithy. He was such a main part of the offense, and and Cam was really kind of forcing a number of throws, especially a little earlier in the season. Maybe not so much last game, but a couple games ago, he was really kind of forcing stuff to Keithy. Like in the San Diego State game in the first quarter, it was like Keithy. And, don't get me wrong, I love Keithy. He's a great player, and I hope he heals fast, and whatever he chooses, whether it's to come back or to the NFL, more power to him, good luck, and I hope he has a great rest of his life, football career and everything. So, that said, without Keithy in the lineup, he was getting about 9 targets a game. Where do those targets go? I want to hear what you guys think. What do you think the offense is going to do to compensate for Keithy's loss? if we still throw that much, maybe we rely more on the run. I hope not, because I like to see some nice passes down the field. That's what I'm hoping for. But let me know what you guys think is going to happen with regard to what's Ludwig going to do with to game plan. And I'm hoping he kind of tries new things every week, not because the thing didn't work the last week, or and I don't mean last week. I mean, like, if, let's say, whatever he does this week, it works really well, maybe try something a little bit different next week with a lot of the same stuff, but, a few wrinkles in there, so that defenses can't completely, game plan for you. Maybe if you kind of have a few maybe core things that you can do, not just straight running or whatever, but, bring in some new personnel or, some different formations and such. But I think that is the silver lining, is that, teams aren't going to know exactly what we're going to be doing all the time. Are we going to be in the 13 set, the 1-3 with 3 tight ends, or the 12 with 2? It's like nobody knows. Nobody knows. I think you'll see us in the 12 a lot with, I think, Yasmin and of course, Kincaid. And I think Kincaid will probably pick up a few more targets per game. I think Yasmin, who's maybe averaging 1 target a game, will probably get, 3 targets. And maybe more. I mean, if he proves to be reliable and he's catching it and getting some good yards. I mean, that play he had last week, if you haven't seen it, watch my video. Watch my video that I did on the ASU game, the highlight and analysis video. That's in there. And that's a 72-yard pass play, but it was mostly run after the catch, yards after the catch. So, I think it's going to depend on him. I'd love to see some of our other tight ends that we haven't seen, like Munir McClain, however you say his name. And trying to think of the other. We've already talked about Logan Kendall in the last video. He's more of a blocker, but I tell you, if you get the ball in his hands, he's probably also hard to bring down. That dude is just big and strong. There's a transfer that we got from Syracuse. His name escapes me, but it begins with an L, and he's like 6'5", 6'6", 230. So kind of a little bit, he's tight endish, and he is a tight end, but he's, kind of, his body type is kind of in between a tight end and a big wide receiver. So I'd like to see him get some opportunities, just because I think there would be some mismatches with somebody that tall, that height. So, and then, we've talked about and heard about putting, number 2 in the slot. Man, my mind is going blank. We've talked about putting Mekhi Bernard in the slot, and I think he would do great there. He's got speed. He's got good size. He's a little bigger, stronger than, kind of your average receiver. And so I think he would do well there. And, I've heard talk about it for quite a while, and it hasn't happened much yet. But, Keithy was starting to see some time in the slot. So I'd really like to see maybe Bernard get some of those opportunities now. So there's a lot of things that we could do. And it'll also be interesting to see if Tavion has had a good week and is going to play and get the majority of the carries. I still love Glover. I want to see Glover a lot. Jaquindon Jackson was very interesting. I loved that wrinkle. I'd like to see him. He's going to have a full week of preparation this week. Last week he only had 2.5 days to prepare for that. So I'd like to see more of him. But I'd also like to see Tavion step up and do what's being asked of him. on and off the field, and have him, get back on the right path, get in the kind of shape he needs to be in so that he could, be faster and quicker and more agile like he was last year, and give himself the best opportunity to make a roster spot in the NFL. While also, of course, benefiting us, quite frankly. But that's my take on all of that. Love to hear what you think. We're doing the challenge again, the score challenge. We are favored by 10.5 points. By the way, my son won it last week. He predicted 34-13, little stinker. One of my guesses was, I was leaning towards 38-13, and I ended up going with 38-10. But I did say in my last week's video, I want to say 38-13, and I said, no, I'm going to have hope that we can hold them to 10. And we didn't. Should have gone with 38-13, but my son still would have beaten me. I want to win my $5 challenge. But we are 10.5 point favorites, which I'm glad that they think enough of us to make us that big of a favorite. And I am going to go with, I think we're going to do it. I think we want to send a message. I think, one, we're upset that we would have been undefeated but for that loss to them last year. I think that's one thing. I think the other thing is we want to send a message. This is our first real test since the Florida game. And I think there's still some doubters out there. I know there's a lot of BYU fans who are doubting us. So I think we really want to send a message. Now, I get it. Oregon State has a say in that. We aren't going to just be able to control it ourselves. But if we can, and if we can dictate the game, the pace, what we do, and I do think we're going to have a little more of an up-tempo game to try to throw them off a little bit. It worked last week against Arizona State. So I think, the most of the score projections are upper 20s for us and upper teens for them. I think we're going to break 30 again. I sure as heck hope we do. I'm going to go with, I want us to score more than this, but I'm going to go with 31-14. And I hope we don't give up 2 touchdowns. I'd rather see it 31-10, 31-13. Heck, I'd rather maybe even see it 31-16. Because then they would have gotten 3 field goals and a touchdown. But I'm going to go with 31-14, and that's my score. If you want to take part in the chance to win $5, you can do whatever in the heck you want with it. I like to think of it as being able to buy yourself a little treat, whether it's from McDonald's or Starbucks or whatever it is you like, Beans and Brew or whatever. Go for it. But make your guess. Put it in the comment section. I'm going to check right before the game. I am going to check everybody's score, and you try to sneak one in during the game or whatever. It's not going to count. That's not how we play here. I'm looking at you, some of you guys out there be like, yeah, well, I'm just going to sneak in and put the score in. So that's what we're doing. In the meantime, again, please like and subscribe, share this with your friends, and hopefully we see you nice and early at the game there, and go Utes.